Hey guys, Optic here. Today I'm gonna go in depth about why I am certain that we will reach 26K on Bitcoin. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So if you don't believe that the markets operate on liquidity, then you have some studying to do, and I would send you right now to watch my How to Trade series. Just watch the first episodes and then come back here and you'll have a much better grasp and understanding at what I'm about to talk to you about in this video. So anyways, without any further ado, let's get into it. So what have we been seeing on Bitcoin over the past month, right? So what we've seen is we had a big ass accumulation over here, right? So we engineered a lot of liquidity throughout this accumulation, whether it was buy side liquidity up here, and up here, or sell side liquidity at all of these lows over here, and ultimately at this low. And then we manipulated under this entire accumulation, right? So what did we do by manipulating under it? We triggered sell side liquidity. We triggered sell stops. What do I mean by sell stops? I mean that when we went under this point, many investors had a stop loss order, and when that order triggered, it's pretty much, hey, I don't want to lose any more on this investment. Please cut me out over here. So once we went under this, we saw many liquidations all the way down to here. And then we proceeded to consolidate, and this is when I called this bottom. I predicted everything that you can, all of the price action that you've been seeing here throughout this new accumulation down here. I predicted that perfectly, flawlessly. You can look at the video. I literally went in depth about it, and I precisely predicted what is going to happen here, and everything played out exactly as I said. So go ahead and watch that video. Just scroll through my channel, you'll find it shouldn't be hard. And then we went up and we cleared the buy side liquidity from this high, cleared the buy side liquidity from this high, and we went slightly above this high. Now, does going slightly above a high mean clearing liquidity? No. But wait a second. If we went above this high, doesn't that mean that we triggered the stop losses of the retail traders who had stop losses over there? Doesn't that not mean that we triggered their stops? Perhaps on Bitcoin, but for one, there are many people who have their stops slightly higher. For two, when people see a major high like this, they typically enter a sell position at it, right? So when we are just crossing it, they enter a sell position looking for a double top pattern to form. But more importantly, you can't just go slightly above a high and assume the liquidity was taken, because the market, the liquidity lies within the markets, not within a single chart. Not within a single chart, but within the markets, the entire markets. So right at this high, there may be liquidity on Bitcoin. But what about ETH? What about all the other altcoins? What about the dollar? Have you considered the dollar? Because Bitcoin is compared to the dollar. And then if you take into account the dollar, then you got to take into account all of the other markets that are correlated with it. So there are tons of markets, and there's a very complex algorithm that runs it, and because it can't be done by a human, okay? It can't be done as efficiently. So this move does not count as clearing the liquidity. It clears some liquidity, but mainly it generates new liquidity and it leaves behind leftover liquidity. Okay, why do you think we had to move as far down as we did below this low to go up here? Because we had to actually clear all the liquidity. Not only the stop orders, but also stay below this invalidation for long enough to make everyone pussy out, right? There are certain areas where you cross them that they don't instill hopium in the people, but they instill fear. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if you're a retail trader and you see bullish structure and price returns over here, you're going to want to buy here. So you're not going to be so scared to buy there, and you're going to buy there. But when we move under this low, that's your invalidation. Over here, the longer price stays under here, the more fearful you become, and the more likely you are to exit your position and pretty much become liquidity. So right over here, that's why we had to spend all of this time here. So everybody can liquidate and the banks, the smart money, can accumulate. Okay. So now generating new liquidity up there after clearing this liquidity, over here, we are definitely in a buy program to get above these highs. Now the question is, from where are we going to take them? And that is pretty simple. That is very simple. You just got to look for the next sell side liquidity. And where is that? At this trend line. Retail traders were viewing this as a major support level. And after getting stopped out over here, now we're below their invalidation. We're at the place, right, where as I said, if price spends time below your invalidation, you're going to be more inclined to liquidate your position. So right now we're below that trend line. And that is their invalidation. So right over here, they are looking to exit their positions. And they're not bullish. I'll tell you why they're not bullish. They're not bullish because they consider this as a double top. And they think that's going to be a long-term top. They want to see a more clear breakout of this level to become bullish. Okay, so over here, there's liquidity at this level, buy-side liquidity at that level. We cleared the sell-side liquidity from here, so now we must go up there. And this is going to play out. Okay, I'm telling you that confidently. Now, this is from the Bitcoin chart aspect. If you want to be more calculated and add more probability into your analysis, then you make use of a multi-market analysis. And let me show you what I mean by that. So, first thing I'm going to be analyzing is a dollar index. So the dollar index, first off, I'd like to say I called the stop over here on Twitter. I made a couple threads actually, one with my good friend Jackie's and another with a friend, forgot his name, but yeah, you can find those threads if you go on my Twitter and you look up DXY and mention Ops or Crypto, then you'll find that thread where I called the stop over here and I said that we would go down exactly to where we dumped down over here. Anyways, what are we seeing on the dollar now? We're seeing a healthy downtrend. Now, whenever I see a healthy downtrend, I look for, whenever we see a move up, I look to take a short. Now, why would I want to sell on this move up? And where would I want to do that? So when I look to sell, I like looking for points of liquidity. So here we have buy-side liquidity on the dollar, and we clear that. Also here we have buy-side liquidity. Now, I don't necessarily think that this precise point is the top. It very well could be. But the reason I'm not 100% certain, and I wouldn't like to say that with full confidence, is because you could still consider this a resistance. However, I think it's pretty likely that now that we clear this liquidity, we will see a retracement at least down to here. So I think something that is likely to happen is perhaps either this scenario or just this scenario. Either way, right now on the dollar, I am biased towards these lows over here alongside this green rectangle. So this is my bias on the dollar, and I would say it's medium to high probability. Not as good as Bitcoin, but medium to high probability. And the fact it's in perfect rhythm, in perfect sync with Bitcoin, gives me even more confidence in it. Since we purged the buy-side liquidity, so now we're in a sell program again until the next sell-side liquidity pool, which I think is mainly over here. So at those relative equal lows. So right now, dollar, I am bearish dollar, and bearish dollar means more dollars flowing in the economy, which means that people have more money. If people have more money flows to businesses, which drives the prices of the equities market up. Okay, that drives stock prices up, because imagine you run an electronic business, right? So you sell electronics. Right now, people don't have a lot of money, so you're not making many sales. All of a sudden, people are starting to have more money. As a result of people having more money, the dollar is going down. Or you can get into many conspiracy theories, which I'm not going to get into. but apparently the market just moves towards the liquidity. But anyways, as a result of people having more money, you're going to make more sales. If you make more sales, then you're going to be more profitable, and therefore your stock is going to go up. Okay? And this translates into the markets because everybody spends their money. Everybody buys shit from Amazon or websites like that. Or everybody spends their money. Everyone has a phone, everyone has all of that type of stuff. So all of this supports the equities markets. So the more money people have, the more likely assets like Bitcoin or indexes like the S&P are likely to go up. Okay? And that is a correlation between the dollar and Bitcoin. So dollar, I'm looking for it to go down, which means I'm also expecting higher prices on Bitcoin, which lines up. Perfect rhythm. Bonds. I covered that in the last video if you want a more in-depth analysis. But on bearish bonds, I'm not going to go into exactly why. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but if it's not, then you can feel free to watch last week's market review, and there I go in depth about it. It's called Market Review Conclusion. Anyways, I expect for us to go down from this point, and then these would be my first levels that I'm watching here, and that price would gravitate to these lows. Then this would be our draw, and then this would be the ultimate draw on liquidity. So bonds topping out. This is bullish for the stock markets. I'll tell you why. Because right now, when bonds are high, many investors are holding their money within bonds because bonds are paying them good yields. But the lower the yields, what this displays the yields, the lower the yields, the less interested investors become in bonds. What does that mean? That means that people are more likely to start investing in businesses, in indexes, and all that type of stuff because they're moving out of bonds. So bonds going down is good for the entire markets in general. Okay, it's good for the entire stock market in general, which also is correlated with Bitcoin. So bonds going down, perfect rhythm with the dollar and Bitcoin. So we're expecting higher prices on those. Now let's go into USDT and USDC dominance. So what is USDT and USDC dominance? USDT and USDC dominance are pretty much indexes that tell you how much of the total money circulating in crypto is being held in these tokens, USDT and USDC, which are stable coins, versus all of the money circulating. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if there's $100 billion in crypto and it's currently at 12% USDT and USDC dominance, that means 12 billion out of that 100 billion is held within stablecoins. Now, what does this mean for the markets? Well, higher dominance on stablecoins means people are more risk averse. This is a risk on scenario. People are more risk averse and they're not looking to invest their money. Rather, they are holding on to cash. Okay. So this going up is bad for the markets because there's less money circulating in the assets that we want them to go up. But when this goes down, such as it's doing over here, when this goes down, this means people are starting to cash out to liquidate their stable coins and exchange them for assets, for other assets within this market, which would be other crypto assets such as Bitcoin, altcoins, etc. So right now we are bearish on USDT and USDC dominance. This means that we ought to be bullish on the rest of crypto because investors are going to move their money from USDT and USDC to coins like crypto, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other altcoins, driving their prices up. Okay, so this also, just by coincidence, happens to be in perfect rhythm with the rest of the markets right now. Now let me show you another chart, the S&P 500 chart. This is pretty much a chart that displays the status of the equities markets because it's an index of 500 companies. Let me show you. So on the S&P currently we have buy side liquidity up here, and we just cleared the main pool of sell side liquidity. Now, why is that the main pool of sell side liquidity? That is the main pool of sell side liquidity because we have a big ass support level over here, and we just violated it. Us violating this level means we're liquidating investors. Okay, we're liquidating investors. So people are selling over here. What does that mean? That means that the masses are panic selling over here because we're going under their invalidation. So what does that mean for us? That means that the smarter money is accumulating all of their liquidity, and price is going to be driven up to the buy side liquidity up that's resting up here. So we're bullish S&P, at least short term, right? We're bullish S&P, we're bearish bonds, we're bearish dollar, we are bearish USDT and USDC dominance, and we're bullish Bitcoin. All of our biases are in perfect rhythm. Now let's go into one last chart. I'm going to go into one more chart that also is typically with perfect rhythm. Well, that also typically gives a really nice bias on a macro bias on Bitcoin, which is silver. Silver has just cleared a lot of sell side liquidity. Right? So on the macro scale, especially. Hold up, I'm not sure why it's taking so long. Okay, there we go. So it's cleared a lot of liquidity on the macro scale, and it tapped into an inefficiency. So I think that we're very likely now to see higher prices on silver, which is typically correlated with Bitcoin. So this move up on silver from here to here is also going to further support the move up on Bitcoin. So I just don't think it's a coincidence that all of these markets are bottoming or topping out in perfect sync with each other. And for those reasons, I think that buying Bitcoin right now is a very calculated decision. I'm in longs from anywhere. My longs are between, my entries are between 20K, 20.2K, and 20.4K. Price is currently at 20.38K at the moment I'm making this video. And I'm expecting it to head up here. So yeah, I just don't see any other scenario. Also, regarding Bitcoin, regarding this top over here, we literally gave so many opportunities to enter sells over here on the top. I don't see a scenario. I can't imagine a scenario where this doesn't get taken out. So I'm very heavy on longs in this. And if I'm wrong about this, which I highly doubt I'm wrong about this, I don't see that happening at all. But if I am wrong about this, that's going to hurt me. And I am fully invested in on this, and I'm fully trusting that this will play out. So you guys make your decision. I give you all the information. You make the decision. Then again, I'm not a qualified person to tell you, to give you financial advice, but I have a decent track record, so you do whatever you want with this information. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to tell you what I think, and my opinions are my own. Peace.